All right, hello, gang. Can you all hear me okay? Hello, Super Dark. Hello, everyone else. Yay, I can be heard. Just a little warning before we begin. Today's fan fiction, at least in the parts that I probably will read today, contains references to sexual assault and pedophilia. And I know this because, as you can see from the title, I've read this fan fiction before, so I know it gets, graphic. So if that's something that's not really your thing, or something you will not really enjoy, I advise you to skip this stream for now. For all one of you that is still remaining, we're going to be reading The Teacher, Adam Lambert fanfiction by Poet X Gold. Now, I originally read this back in early 2019 for YouTube. Those videos have since been privated because I'm not proud of how they turned out, especially since I was in an abusive relationship at the time. But I wanted to revisit it, so your goth mother, Madame Goth, Flower Gothic, could introduce to more people just how fucked up and hilarious this fanfiction is. And I double-checked, the person who wrote this is a legal adult, and was a legal adult when she wrote this, if my calculations are correct. And, as my normal policy, I'm going to try my best to not be too harsh on the English, because English is not this person's first language. She is Polish. And yada yada, you get the idea. So, this is a teacher-student fanfiction starring Adam Lambert. Hello, DSI friend. Yeah, if you want to skip this one, Super Dark, go ahead. I'm probably only going to be, like, unless if... Are most of y'all uncomfortable with this? Because if so, I can, like, not read this. Like, if this makes y'all uncomfortable, I can, like, do a different one. I still have, like, an entire library full of potentially better fanfiction. No, but I wouldn't mind skipping it either. How about this? Let's, like, read the first chapter or two, and if it gets real bad, we'll, like, yeet out of there, okay? Does that sound good, y'all? Because it might not be as bad as I remember it. It's been over a year since I've read this. Oh, I forgot to read the description. Aubrey Gray, just 17 years old, has always been close with her mom, but when an unfortunate accident happened, can a teacher but mysterious male save Aubrey from falling apart? Keep in mind that Adam Lambert is openly gay at this point. Anyway, let's read. Chapter 1, Boy Attraction. Hey Glamberts, XXX. This is a new book. It is an Adam Lambert book brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department, and the story is told about a 17-year-old Aubrey Gray who loses her mother due to a car accident, and Aubrey's teacher wants to help her, but knowing Adam, he won't just be a teacher who wants to help. I hope you'll like this one, and please vote and comment below to let me know what y'all think of this book. Aubrey's POV. Silence suddenly raised as I came into the classroom. Hello, Cause. Welcome. Welcome to Adam Lambert has a relationship with his student. Hey, loner girl, the voice of Damien, which is a clear Chad name, echoed through the room and my smile faded from my face. Shut up, D, I called out, sitting in my place. As I took my books out, I noticed a yellow note on the desk which read, "Why are you still here?" I grabbed the note and scrunched it up before throwing it, or at least targeting it at the bin. But in the way stood my teacher. Hello, class! The scrub of facial hair covered the teacher's tired face. Morning, Mr. Daphne, a chorus of voices said, while booing came from the back of the classroom. Silence suddenly raised. I wonder where this was plagiarized from. Okay, this isn't the Lovely Angels, and I know I'm not going to read their fanfiction for a little bit because I don't want to turn this into the twice a week I bash the Lovely Angels show. But I have at least faith that this person did not plagiarize. Are you quite finished, Damien? Mr. Daphne asked, sighing while putting his brown case under the desk. Nah, I haven't even begun, a chuckle came from Damien. I felt blood boil under my skin. He was so in trouble. Sounds too natural in context. Yeah, it does. And again, English is not this person's first language, so if she did plagiarize something in Polish and put it through a translator, it would not sound natural. Aubrey, psst. I turned my head to the side. What? I said harshly, looking at my best friend. Sorry, I apologized, looking at her scorned face. It's okay. Her face lit up with a smile. I want to kill Damien so bad, my best friend whispered. Who wouldn't want to kill him? Yes, this is a perfectly rational thing for teenagers in the 2010s to think. Am I right, gang? I sure wanted to kill people in high school. Fuck. Please do not flag me, Twitch. As the hour went by, the lesson got boring, and I swear I saw my best friend fall asleep in the middle of class. Mr. Daphne didn't notice it, thank God. As the bell signaled it was the end of class, I elevated from my chair and packed my books and quickly left the room with my best friend at my side. The best friend doesn't get a name because, she's just a side character. Thank you for saying that wanting to kill someone is totally normal in high school. With my best friend on my side. Aubrey, that guy is staring at you. She pointed to a blonde boy who smiled and looked at me and at one point managed to drop his books and pencil case from his hands from his heavy focus on me. Well, she does understand the American mindset. Despite this being written in European English, yeah. I mean, this feels like, the typical high school TV show a la Riverdale, or I hate that I mentioned it, but 13 Reasons Why. 13 Reasons Why is not a good show. I do not recommend it. It is garbage. But this is the kind of vibe. This is the 13 Reasons vibe. I shook my head. No, you're wrong. He's not looking at me. You cannot deny what is there, babe. How to understand the American mindset. 1. The wish to murder. Number 2, hot dog. Well, what if you're a vegetarian like me, Super Dark? I grabbed my bag's handle tighter with my grip getting harder against the material. In class. This was geography class, and it was so boring, so I placed my legs on the desk and acted like I didn't care. I yawned quietly, but I swear one of the students noticed. Sir, is this boring to you? Spoke a black-haired emo girl. Nah, I'm just tired, I simply replied and went back to doing nothing again. What? Veggie dog? Oh. They forgot to mention this, but, this part is in Adam Lambert's perspective. I shut the door and set Aubrey on a desk, and then the moment the bell signaled it was break time, which is not a thing in most American high schools, I got the heck out of here and looked for Aubrey. I walked past the corridor, but when I turned into a corner, I saw Aubrey on the floor crying. Claire had her arm outstretched on Aubrey's shoulders. I'm guessing Claire is the name of the best friend. You know, this is the kind of stuff you're supposed to establish in the first chapter. I went down to my knee and immediately acted like a teacher. Aubrey, are you okay, sweaty? I searched for a tissue in my pocket and gave it to the crying girl. My mom! She died in a car accident! Oh yeah, I forgot. Instead of, like, establishing the characters in this first chapter, they just, like, go right into Aubrey's mom dying. She has a dead mom, that's the plot. Wait, do you have recess? We don't have recess in middle or high school. That's only an elementary school thing. The closest you have to quote-unquote recess in middle and high school is just your lunch break. And only in my high school were we allowed to actually freely roam the school during lunch break. In middle school, we had to eat in the cafeteria. Or the patios, if you were lucky enough to get a patio seat. I know that a lot of my fan base for these streams are not American, so I'll be happy to explain all the Americanisms. Anyway, she whimpered and blew her nose. I took my hand in hers and helped her up. I'll deal with this, Claire, I told the other girl and went to an empty classroom. I placed myself next to her and hugged her. It's going to be fine, honey. I will help you, I whispered. Aubrey's head shot up. What do you mean? How about a meeting every day during class? I asked and raised an eyebrow and prayed in my head, hoping she would say yes. Okay, it's settled. For now, let me take you home. He didn't even give her an option to answer. He just swooped in to, quote-unquote... What's the best way to say this? Groom a minor. I'm indeed not very familiar with the American education system. Like, if y'all have any questions about, like, American high school during this, I'll answer it. You don't have any idea who Adam Lambert is, Super Dark? So, let me explain who Adam Lambert is real quick. Adam Lambert is an openly gay pop star who is most well known in the classic rock teenage girl fandom for touring with Queen for the past few years. Yes, he is a singer. He sang the ending theme for the movie 2012 and he voiced the main villain in Playmobil the movie. That's what he did. I mean, depending on who you ask, he could be a corporate puppet musician. He was, the winner of American Idol in, 2010, I believe? Or whatever version of Idol your country has. Anyway, continuing. Oh, She nodded her head as to say, okay. As we walked to my car, Aubrey continued to quietly sniffle. I couldn't help but be sympathetic, but I was also pretty happy that she was trusting me enough to let me take her home. Love to have my kids not to be pedos, obviously. I mean, there are very unfortunate implications with this, especially considering how the LGBT community was stereotyped during the 20th century. How about a meeting every day during class? I asked and raised an eyebrow and prayed in my head, hoping she would say yes. Okay, it's settled for now. Let me take you home. She copy-pasted for some reason. I did as instructed and pulled up to a small but nice house. It was beige with white, squared windows. It gave us a sense of comfort. Once I came out of my little trance, I realized that Aubrey was already out of the car and at her house door. Excuse me. She reluctantly turned around and sent me a small wave and went to her house. Even though she was already gone, I smiled and waved back before driving off. Brave to attempt to fill Freddie Mercury's big shoes, but he had a nice take on it. Yeah, pretty much. I have my own issues with Queen, particularly with their guitarist, but I'm going to put that part of Deep Flower Gothic lore aside for now so we can focus on this fanfiction. Aubrey's POV. I came inside the house and took off my jacket and put my bag down by the stairs and took off my shoes off before hearing someone call out my name. Dad called from the living room. Ob was the nickname Dad gave me when I was a kid. I hated it at first, but soon loved it after a while. My body tense as I realized that we were on our own and Mum was gone. Oh, yeah, by the way, I love how they decided to establish that, Ob is Aubrey's childhood nickname, but, not her friend's name. I ran to him and collapsed on my knees on the floor. It's going to be fine, sweetheart. Dad helped me get off the floor and hugged me tightly to him. Dad, I whispered quietly into his body as my mouth was right against his stomach. I could not breathe. Finally, he let me go and sat me next to him on the sofa. So what now? I faced him, but didn't expect a smile or anything of that sort. We go to the funeral and live on. That was the last thing to hear from Dad before my sobs attacked my body and made me run to my room. And, boo, what did you guys think? Dramatic, huh? Okay, quick note. Just because you should have a plot doesn't mean that you should smack us in the face with it, especially in the first chapter. I don't know anything about Aubrey except for that she's bullied, or bullied, and that doesn't give me a reason to sympathize with her, okay? Okay. Next chapter. Is this gonna be... It's going to be... My browser's going to be a bitch today. Chapter 2, Broken Open. This fanfic's author would have been a collaborator. Hello, my lovelies. This chapter is going to be emotional but beautiful, and I hope you guys will enjoy this rather difficult to write chapter, XXX. I hope you like it, guys. Vote and comment down below in the comment section. 2 days later, and it was my mom's funeral. We had her cremated because... Sorry, I got a notification. Because she had always talked about being cremated, brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department, and having her ashes spread at a beach. Now, I actually remember when I first read this chapter, I took issue to the funeral happening 2 days later because of the cremation process. So I'm going to continue that tradition of calling out people's bullshit here. How long is the cremation process? We don't care, don't care. This is not what I wanted. How long does cremation take? According to our data, most funerals are held between 1 and 3 weeks after death. Usually a longer wait is due to it being a busy time at the crematorium. This is usually the case around January. How long does it take to cremate a body? It usually takes place between like 1.5 to 3 hours. I remember that like it takes a little bit to like actually get your loved ones cremated because a lot of people do that these days, but I'm going to leave it there and keep on going. I need to clear my notifications. Ugh. Plus, we'd like to have a little bit of her left with us. As Dad and I made our way to the church, I couldn't help but be nervous. I'm supposed to give a speech and I'm pretty sure it's not going to go well. I was right. During the speech, I broke down. I rushed out of the church and waited in my dad's car until the funeral was over. By the time it was over, brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department, my tears had settled down. When my dad got into the car, he didn't really acknowledge my tear-stained face. Which was good because I didn't really want him to. When we got home, I immediately locked myself in my room. I can't believe my mom is gone. I don't want to believe it. What is this? The next day at school, I started the session with Mr. Lambert. When I walked into the room, Mr. Lambert was already sitting there, brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department, waiting. I took a seat opposite of him and stared at my fidgety hands. For about 5 minutes, it was awkwardly silent between us. Then he started talking. "How are you doing, Aubrey?" I quickly looked up, his voice sort of startling me. I'm fine," I stuttered out. He nods and looks around a little bit. I finally grow tired of the silence. "May I be excused? I need to go see my mom." Mr. Lambert gives me a sympathetic look, but shortly he grows confused. Look, I know one of the parts of grief is denial, but I don't think this is how grief works. What even is this? Hello, Roxanne! Welcome to the fanfiction where Adam Lambert grooms a minor. Anyway, continuing. "Aubrey, your mom isn't here anymore. She died in a car crash," she quietly said. This is also not how bereavement therapy works. I started to shake my head. "No," I abruptly stood up. "No, she didn't! She's at home, and I need to see her!" "Aubrey, please sit down," Mr. Lambert tries to soothe me. I listen to him and sit back down, but I can't help but look around. Mr. Lambert's hand outstretched to me, making me come back to reality. "Aubrey," he softly said, and his blue eyes stare right into my eyes, making me cringe. "I'm sorry," I apologize in discomfort. "Let me help you," he presses. "I'm fine," I assure him and force out a smile. "Aubrey, I have seen this before in people, and it doesn't end well." He told me like he thinks I'm gonna kill myself. Yeah, I think this is the part where it gets real bad. "Please let me help you," he said and took my hand in his. Our fingers intertwined. "Isn't this bad? Teacher and student is forbidden and always has been, or has it?" "Fine," I snapped and pulled my hand quickly away from his. He quickly grabbed it back and put it into his. Sweaty? When I say help, I mean help," he giggled. "Geez. My mother just died, and you want to force yourself onto me, do you?" I got up and kicked the chair at the wall. "This chapter is going to be beautiful, but emotional." Oh, sorry, emotional but beautiful. Yeah, Super Dark, go ahead and mute for a bit. I'm probably going to finish this chapter and then yeet out of here. Yeet. In that moment, I swore to myself that Mr. Lambert was feeling sorry for myself like I haven't felt since that funeral. My mom's strange side of the family came and hugged me and told me one by one, "I'm so sorry for your loss, darling." I did nothing more than keeping myself at a distance. Pushing them away was easy, but when they approached me, I wanted to hide in a corner and cry till my eyes grew red from all the tears and dry from letting out too much. Adam's POV. As I watched Aubrey storm out of the room and down the hallway, I couldn't help but smirk at how cute she is when she's angry. Ugh. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, y'all. I stood in the doorway of the room, and out of nowhere came Aubrey's best friend. I think her name's Claire or something, as we established in the previous chapter. I'm surprised they were in a bit of a struggle. That's not how most shitfics go. Yeah, but the implications here outweigh that, DSI friend. What the hell did you do? She yelled in my face. I don't know what you're talking about. I was just trying to help her, I said, smirk still plastered on my face. She should learn manners. I, apostrophe, am after all a teacher. Help her? Hell right. Her mom decided you're trying to throw yourself at her. Stick to your job of being a teacher. You're supposed to help her get through this grief, not try to bone her. Besides, it wouldn't work anyway, she continues to yell, even though I'm barely listening. What exactly wouldn't work? I'm just trying to do my job. That's like... I'm not going to say that. That's like illegal. Very, very illegal. You could go to jail, you know that, right? Claire clumsily says. I fake yawn. Are you done yet? As I chuckle, Claire is pissed off good. Job well done, then. I should be congratulating myself. Claire flares her nostrils, rolls her eyes, and turns around to walk off. Try not to ask her too much. I yell to her back and go back into the office. I should have given that bitch detention, I said to myself, and ran my hand through my fingers. This was even harder than I thought. Aubrey's POV. I went back to Spanish class and relaxed. Claire whispered and tapped my shoulder. I laid my hand on my heart and breathed hard. You scared me. Do you want to kill me or something? I replied and opened my book to distract myself. I know what he's planning to do, Claire begun. I shot towards her and looked at her with a questioning look. He wants you, Claire wrote on a piece of paper. That should be obvious at this point. Also, I don't know why this chapter was written entirely in italics. I forgot to say that. Dophilia is bad because it's illegal, actually. Illegal. Yep, that is some definitive limp shit. It's bad because it's illegal. Miss Gray and Miss Smith, am I boring you? I asked Mr. Townswell and readjusted his glasses that barely sat on his crooked nose. No, sorry, sir. Please carry on, Claire apologized instead of me. The teacher turned around and faced the board. Thanks, I mouthed at my friend. You're welcome, she mouthed back. Next was math with Mr. Lambert. There's no way I could face him after what happened this morning. I speed walked to my locker to gather my things before heading to the nearest exit. The halls were still full of students, considering there was still about 5 minutes before the late bell rang. Luckily, no one seemed to notice me exiting the school. Aubrey! Hey, Aubrey! I heard someone call my name. I'm determined to keep going and to not turn around, but before I know it, someone's gripping my arm and walking with me outside. Just keep your head down and keep walking, the unknown person sternly said. We continued to walk, and once we were outside, I was finally let loose. I looked up to see none other than Mr. Lambert. Oh, God, no! He looked out on me and slowly stepped closer. Hey there, Aubrey, he said in an attempted seductive tone. What do you want? Why are you out here? He kept his hands in his pockets and had a smile on his face like I was his favorite person in the world right now. Well, I could ask the same thing. I don't feel too well, so I'm going home. Do you need a ride? He asked with a sly smile and probably hoped he would be my hero. God, what a douche. No, my house isn't too far away. I can walk. Oh no, I insist. Come on, let's go. He once again then grippled my arm and pulled me towards his car. This is supposed to be a love story, by the way. So far we have seen the grooming of a vulnerable minor and a very persistent teacher who wants to do something very, very illegal. I hate this. Don't you have a class to teach? I asked in a harsh tone. How about you worry about yourself? He snapped back in an even harsher tone. I stayed quiet and just decided to cooperate so he wouldn't hurt me or something. Once we were in his car, I crossed my arms and looked everywhere but at Mr. Lambert. Do you hate me? Lambert broke the silence and spoke. Nah, I don't hate you. I love you, I said sarcastically. I could even taste it at the tip of my tongue. Lambert faced me and looked shocked. Glad you think so? He turned into the opposite of what I meant. You're my teacher. I turned away and hanged my hand out the window, enjoying the cool air upon my skin. And you were meant to be in math with me. He pressed and spoke like a teacher. Finally! At home. As I unlocked the door, I found Dad sitting on the floor with a bottle in his hand. Seriously? I snapped and grabbed the bottle and smashed it against the wall. Sweaty, that was not necessary, Dad's slurred speech said, and then a hic escaped from his chest. So, let me reiterate what happened here. Within the course of like 4 days, Aubrey's dad has become an alcoholic, and now her math teacher is trying to come on to her to do very illegal activities. And this is supposed to be beautiful and emotional. What the fuck is wrong with you, Poet X Gold? Like, I don't even mean that as a joke, just, what the fuck is wrong with you? I think he's drunk, I heard Mr. Lambert whisper from behind me. I jumped and turned around. I did not invite you in. What are you doing? I yelled at him and hit his chest, but not hard enough. I growled in slight pain. Your father is drunk, Aubrey. Do you wish danger upon yourself? Do you wish danger upon yourself? I rolled my eyes and shoved him out of the way. That is no way to treat a teacher, Lambert smirked and caressed my cheek, which I slapped away. Mr. Lambert put his arm around my shoulder. I genuinely don't think it's safe for you to be here. Let's go to my place. I scoffed. Your place? Why would I go anywhere with you? Mr. Lambert shrugged. I don't know, maybe because right now your dad's pretty shit-faced? You don't know what he's capable of in this state. Gave my dad a once-over. He was searching the cabinets, most likely looking for more liquor. Plus, he could barely even stand without swaying. Maybe Mr. Lambert is right. Maybe I should go with him just for tonight. No, do not do this! Do not do this! This is illegal! This is not family-friendly! I looked at Mr. Lambert and nodded. Okay, yeah, let's go. He smirked and led me back out to his car. Oh, and BTW, did I tell you? Nice hair, Mr. Lambert said with a smile and played with my hair for a moment. It was long and dark brown like my eyes. Thanks, I giggled. Why am I suddenly feeling like I want to be all over him? Because he is a grown man who is trying to groom you into his beautiful child bride. I can't even think of anything funny for this. This is just pathetic. I genuinely wonder what the clips for this are gonna be like, because I don't get notified that people clip until after I stream, so I legitimately wonder how fucking terrible they're going to be. I gulped and turned my back to him. I closed my eyes as we drove away as fast as we could. What happened next? Darkness washed over me, and I was glad. Sometime later. When I opened my eyes, I was on a bed with a black blanket over me. I wonder how I got here. Wake up, honey, Mr. Lambert's voice came from next to me. I froze. What the hell? Why are you next to me? I asked, and watched Mr. Lambert raised his hands in defense. I just got here. I got you some food, he said, and set the tray on my lap. I sat up and looked at the curry on the plate and a glass of orange juice next to it. Thank you, I told him gratefully and tucked him. As I was eating the food Mr. Lambert had given me, I felt eyes on me. When I looked up, I saw Mr. Lambert, brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department, looking at me with an emotion behind his eyes that I couldn't recognize. I looked away shyly and continued to eat. When I was finished, Mr. Lambert took the tray and left the room. When he came back in, he smiled and sat at my feet. What do you want me? I asked out of nowhere. Because you're innocent. Innocence is bliss, he answered with a serious tone. What the fuck is wrong with you? I didn't say anything, but he continued talking. I don't want to hurt you or anything, ... I just want to get to know you. I was kind of shocked at first. Before, he was throwing himself at me and being all cocky. Now he's actually being sort of patient. But I nodded. He grinned, which is something I've never actually seen him do before. Okay, I agreed and crossed my legs. Nothing makes me happier than the romanticization of child grooming. Do not flag me, Twitch, I be sarcastic. Mr. Lambert sat closer to me and smiled. So what is your favorite color, he asked. I laughed. What kind of question is that? Purple, I replied, and pointed to my top. Lambert clicked his tongue. Favorite singer? That question almost had me rolling. Jessie J. I do not know who Jessie J is. I begun singing Who You Are, which I have never listened to, and I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get flagged. Last stream, Twitch actually muted my Be Right Back music, which forced me to change it. But started crying and Lambert placed his arm around me. I'm fine. I dried my tears and got off the bed and left the room. Aubrey, Mr. Lambert called out, and I swore he was running after me. Please leave me alone, I cried out, but his arm soon held me as I almost fell. Let me go. I fought against him, but he was too strong. I can help. He whispered into my ear and turned me around. I felt safe in his arms. Don't, I said and pulled away a little. What? He moved his head down a bit as if to try and kiss me. Don't let me go, I said back. What the fuck is wrong with you, Poex Gold? And so yes, that just happened, guys. Aubrey has finally let him in. The next chapter should be as eventful as this one. I do not own Adam, I only own the characters. Ugh. How are you feeling, gang? You want to do chapter 3, behavior? Or do you want me just to yeet out of here right now? Ugh. The question to the readers is really the cherry on top, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. I'll read chapter 3. Hey, Glamberts! This chapter is pretty much a chapter in which regret and anger is showed. So Mr. Lambert has in a way saved Aubrey from her dad, who is now a drunkard after like 4 days, and Aubrey got some good night's sleep, but we'll read on, everyone, and find out. Aubrey's POV. The next morning, I wake up with an arm draped over me and Mr. Lambert's face right in front of mine. I jump back and end up falling off the bed with a thud. When I get back up, Mr. Lambert is sitting up in bed looking around frantically. Saved. Quote unquote, 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 saved. Ain't nothing like grooming minors. Am I right or am I wrong? I feel like I'm going to hell for this. What happened? He asked, his voice laced with sleep. Sorry, I am Phil. He looked at me with suspicion, but ended up brushing it off. He then reached its arms out to me. Come here. I obeyed and went into his arms. He held me there for what seemed like forever before he pulled me from his chest and looked me in the eyes. I want you to stay with me until it's safe to go back to your dad. With your dad, he said softly. This is like 15 kinds of illegal. For a second, I was considering it. Then I remembered that Mr. Lambert is a teacher, I am a student, so this can't be happening. I pushed away from him and stood up. No way am I staying here with you. A bit of anger flashed behind Mr. Lambert's eyes. What? Why not? He yelled. Because you're an adult man who is supposed to be my teacher, not my boyfriend or something. All I'm trying to do is help you, quote unquote. But you're too naive to realize it. Naive? You know, yes, cause this is a big fucking yikes. This is the other reason why I've since privated my actual, reading of the fanfic on my main channel, because I am a lot more lighthearted in that one. And kind of gloss over the implications. Yeah. Naive, you know what? You're a stupid asshole. You're going around here doing things that could get you put in jail. I could call the police on you. Then why don't you? Mr. Lambert cut me off. Why didn't I? I could have called the police on him after what happened in that office, but I didn't. Why not? I stared at Mr. Lambert before bolting out of the room. I grabbed my stuff on the way and ran out of his house. Where are you going? He yelled, but didn't make me turn back. To school? We're probably late. I called out and ran as if hell was following me. I went past the trees till I crossed the road and got to the roundabout. Shit, I murmured and grabbed my head. I don't know what I am doing. Need a lift, came Claire's voice from near me. I looked around to see Claire in her bright pink car hanging her head outside the window. She opened the door and let me climb in. What happened yesterday? She grabbed my seatbelt and helped me buckle it. Thanks, I nodded in gratification and sat back enjoying the soft seat in the headrest too. Because apparently Claire is very bouge. Mr. Lambert took me home. Claire giggled. What happened at home? I rolled my eyes and clicked my tongue. For starters, Dad got drunk. Second, Lambert took me to his and gave me food. Third, he finally let me go to bed. Fourth, this morning, I woke up with his arm around me. I let out a sigh of anger. Why did I let him get to me so easily? Oh my God, she laughed and took her hand off the wheel. Hey, eyes on the road, I grimaced, scared of what could happen. I can't believe you went to Mr. Lambert's house, Claire continued to laugh. I knew you thought he was hot, too. Keep in mind that Claire was the one who yelled at Mr. Lambert for planning on doing some very, very illegal things. Ugh. She winked at me and I sunk down in the passenger seat and looked out the window. Moments later, we pulled up to the school. I looked around for Mr. Lambert before getting out of Claire's car. I would try to avoid him at all costs. Of course, I had math with him, but before and after that, hopefully I wouldn't see him again. Claire and I made our way to math, and Claire nudged me with her elbow. Are you excited to see Lambert? She asked with an evident glint of mischief behind her eyes and her smirk. I scoffed and rolled my eyes. Claire, there's nothing between him and I. There never will be. She looked straight ahead and smiled. Whatever you say, Audrey, whatever you say. I hooked arms with Claire and walked to the building with her. Aubrey, came a familiar voice from behind me. I rolled my eyes and walked on, but swore that Claire was muffling her laughs with her hand. What do you want, sir? I asked angrily and probably would get a detention for being rude. Are you all right? Mr. Lambert asked and placed a cold hand on my shoulder, making me freeze on the spot. I'm good, sure, I replied, grinning, and shook his hand off me. Should it be too so touchy, sir? I would be careful if I were you, Claire interrupted. My eyes went wide in Claire's comeback. She seems to surprise me every day. I like the sight of her. Apparently she is Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde, Hyde, Jekyll. Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde. Adam's POV. I stood there in shock. I can't believe I was just threatened by a student. If I'm being honest, I was slightly afraid at first. Claire is pretty intimidating when she wants to be. I soon realized that I was standing in the middle of the hallway with my mouth agape. I cleared my throat and dusted myself off before continuing on my way to M class. When I stepped into the classroom, my eyes immediately went to Aubrey, but then they went to Claire. If looks could kill, I'd be on the floor and hacked to pieces. I quickly looked away and went to sit on my desk. I started the class, giving everyone the assignment, but I couldn't keep my focus off Aubrey. Every chance I got, I looked at her. I'd study everything about her, from her body language to the little things she does. I'm so intrigued by everything about her. I want her to feel the same way about me. I'm going to get her to feel the same about me one way or another. Then suddenly I moved down on my seat and let out a sound to which Claire burst out in laughter, and so did Aubrey. I was immediately in awe. The sound that came out of Aubrey, the sound was angelic and made my lower body scream. Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. I did not think it was going to get this uncomfortable. Mr. Lambert, are you alright? Aubrey asked, giggling and trying to calm herself down. Her whole face was red and her eyes were in tears. I swore to myself, I'm gonna make that girl fall in love with me very soon. I looked at the clock above the door to see how much time was left before the bell rang. 20 minutes, that's great. I took out a sheet of paper and a pen and began to write. Oh, God, no, I am not saying that. I refuse. I refuse to say that. We're skipping that. Adam's POV. Again. I read the note over and smirked before folding it up. I would wait until the bell rang before giving it to Aubrey. Until then, I'll continue to daydream about her. I want her, but she doesn't think twice about me. Or maybe she doesn't even think about me at all. Why am I so invested in this girl? She's just another girl. Or is she more? The bell rang and I was up as fast as possible. I speed walked over to Aubrey and Claire before they walked out of the room. Something to remind you of me? I whispered in her ear as I slipped her the note. I watched as her and Claire eyed me suspiciously before walking out of the classroom. Aubrey's POV. What the hell was that? I shoved the note in my pocket so Claire wouldn't see it. He wants you, Aubrey. He wants you so bad, she said in a swoony voice before she chuckled. Get over it, Claire, I playfully said. I knew he wanted me. I don't know why he does, but I know he does. That doesn't mean I'm just going to give in, though. Like I've said before, he's a teacher, I'm a student, and that's that. I had noticed that Claire had left my side until I got to my locker. Then I pulled out the note and read over it. I'm not going to say it again. I inwardly gasped and almost choked. When I was finished with my little cough attack, I looked around to make sure no one had saw. I found myself muffling in a laugh because Mr. Lambert really thought he had a chance. I'm determined to keep my word. Nothing will ever happen with him. Ever. And, hey guys, in this chapter, I guess it says all about Aubrey's thoughts on Mr. Lambert, but that doesn't mean it's over. Okay. I want to read the rest of this story because I promise later on it gets absolutely hilarious. But I can't ignore the obvious implications that this story has. So, I wouldn't read this like every week, but would y'all want me to read the rest of this at some point? Skip to the funny bits. Anyway, we're not gonna read the rest of this fanfic for the remainder of the stream because fuck this bullshit. I'm going to DM Super Dark to let him know that I'm good. I know it's great clip material, DSI friend. It's just you can't ignore the implications that fanfiction holds. That's my thing. So, let's see. I don't want to read a Lovely Angels fanfiction again just yet. Don't want to read this one yet. Let's read some of the... What's something more tasteful that I can read? Did we ever read Cats 2? We did not read Cats 2. You're right. Let me refill my water bottle. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I'm back. So, we're going to be reading now to get the taste of the teacher out of our mouth. Cats the Musical 2, A Jellicle Returns Under Construction. 7-part story. This is a sequel to Cats the Musical since I am obsessed with it. In the first chapter, I will explain the family tree and say what they all look like. Well, my OCs at least, BTW. I'm rewriting this after the movie came out. Oh yeah, these people are movie stans. Number 13 in Mischief Misspelled. Let's read. Basic info with a CGI horror show right there. Hi, so I recently saw the movie with my friends and personally I thought it was amazing, so I decided to rewrite Cats 2. Victoria in Mistoff Fleas equals Elizabeth, Bomblerina plus Tum Tum Tugger equals Tom Tuggery, Seraphina, Demeter plus Monkus Strap equals Persephone. Don't say it like that. Emerdon. Because I really do not care about the cat family tree, okay? I just want my horny felines, okay? I want my horny felines! Fuck, I don't even like the Cats musical. Running. A blur of red and black flashed through the streets of London. Tears were close to spilling down Bombleruna's face when she suddenly bumped into the Tum Tugger, causing her to fall backwards. "Watch where you're going," he cried, but soon as he looked at her, his tone changed. "Oh, I'm so sorry." He helped her up and smiled. "Thanks, sorry. I wasn't looking," she said, looking up slowly. The main... I'm not saying that. Eyes narrowed. "Hold on, were you at the ball?" he asked. Bombalurina turned yet. Yes, she sheepishly replied. That's some absolute dog shit cat shit. Yep, that lot of shipping wars in the Cats fandom. Weren't you at the cavity? Yes, but I left. She looked away, not able to meet his eyes once again. Tugger circled her suspiciously. And why is that? He inquired. The tabby was on the verge of crying now. I didn't realize that going to the Heaviside Lair was just for him. He promised me that I could join him. The tears that had been building up in her eyes for the past few minutes were now cascading down her face. A sympathetic look crossed Tugger's face as he started to sing softly, "McCavity, McCavity, there's no one like McCavity." It was obvious he was trying to serenade her. She was such a beautiful cat. How could he not? It made her giggle when she realized, how about you come back with me? You have an excellent idea for a stream, DSI friend? Yeah, DM me the idea later. He stared at us. I don't think they'd accept me. Bombalurina whispered. Old Deuteronomy took Grisabella back in. Did she not? Tugger quirked an eyebrow at her. Well, I guess so, she replied. Then what are we waiting for? He grabbed her paw and pulled her along in the direction of the Egyptian, a place where the cats usually met. As they arrived, many cats backed away from the serious female and hissed. They weren't fond of strangers, especially ones associated with McCavity. Tugger pushed her towards old Deuteronomy. Tugger, who's this, and why is she here? The Jellicle leader questioned him as she looked between the two, eyebrows raised, clearly thinking something was going on between them. My name is Bombalurina. I'm here to ask for your forgiveness. Bomba butted in before Tugger could say anything stupid. Ah, yes, one of McCavity's accomplices. She sighed and looked at Tugger. But why do you want that? I realized how selfish McCavity was, only wanting my help so he could go to the Heaviside Lair. It was never about us, just him. Well, that and my brother was a Jellicle, the tabby answered. Old Deuteronomy gasped in surprise. I thought I recognized you from somewhere. You were Diorana's dear little kin, weren't you? My, how time passes. I remember when you and Tugger used to play together in the junkyard. That was easy. Ugh. Jellicle's old and new. Ugh. I can't do this, gang. That fan fiction left a very unsavory taste in my mouth, and I need to wash my mouth out with soap. So I think I'm gonna call it here. I'm sorry. But thank you for watching. I promise next time we will not be reading that particular fan fiction. I'll try and space those out.